Hi everyone there. I am Rajarajan. On behalf of Gandhian Initiative for Social Transformation, I welcome you to view this video presentation I nominate. In this series, we will be discussing the present political scenario in India, economic policies, global warming, agro crisis, etc., and the possible solutions. This first part is basically devoted to analyze the current political crisis in India, the reasons for that, and the possible solution for that. We present it in 6 episodes. I nominate Part 1, Episode 1. Successive governments in the past half a century have been diluting governance, looting the people who voted them to power, left, right, and center, committing atrocities on the public, thus negating the very idea of democracy, the people's rule, and the rule of law. To arrest further slide, it is imperative now that we wrest our rights from this wayward polity. Our nation is going through a serious crisis. We have far too many problems. The root cause of all these is the dishonesty, non accountability of the ruling class. Frontline politics is filled with shamelessly corrupt, criminal, dynastic, communal, casteist, greedy individuals and leaders, subverting the very idea of democratic and welfare governance. Political power is wielded by a few thugs and extortionists. People are forced to elect only among the contesting, mostly dishonest, self centered self aggrandizers, while the money bags, business tycoons, and their henchmen go about nominating their yes men, stooges, and zebu bars to every legislative and administrative position and continue looting all public resources, accumulating them as their personal wealth and investment for future political harvest. Almost all the frontline parties have become predators and are partners in the loot. Unseating one party and enthroning another does not make any meaningful difference. Everything is same except the name reminds us of the 1970s jingles. Political party leaders, who themselves are not democratically elected mostly, nominate the candidates for the various constituencies based only on their capacity to help furthering the party leader's own agenda. How can we expect these candidates to represent the interest of the people? They can represent only the interest of the party leaders and the money bags operating from behind them. Even within the party, candidates are not selected in any democratic manner. Even the second and third line leaders are not consulted, and not to speak of the foot soldiers, the party workers. The parties nominate as candidates only those with good chances of winning, give the party's name, symbol, etc., give money for canvassing, spend on publicity, etc. When they win, they can and do represent only the interests of the party leaders and not the people. The parties, in turn, are supported and funded by rich landlords, corporate giants, underworld groups, those who have looted and amassed wealth by unlawful means, outlaws, etc. Hence, the candidates thus elected represent only those money bags and outlaws and not the people for sure. In 1991, in the name of economic reforms, the liberalization, privatization, globalization regime, in short, LPG regime, was introduced. It was not just degeneration from socialistic governance to capitalistic governance. It degenerated further into crony capitalism, a daylight robbery of the national wealth by a few stinkingly rich in connivance with the powers that be. In the past 30 years in particular, all the governments have been representing the interests of the corporate world and not the people. It is corporatocracy and not democracy anymore. It is democracy and not democracy what we have now. While the party based political system is such, let us look at the efforts made to resolve this. To come out of this situation, well meaning activists and groups have been trying to nominate honest candidates, but the people didn't care. They tried joining hands and nominating common candidates. Still, people did not take note. The activist groups and small but honest parties do not have any significant support base among the people. The candidates are not selected by any significant number of electorate. Even the small groups deciding on the candidates' names belong to different constituencies. The voters are not prepared to vote these candidates. Thus, the very idea of getting honest candidates elected remains a dream. The situation calls for an emergency surgery. Applying some bomb here and gulping some pill there will not do. Polity in a nation is like blood in a human body. It has got rotten. Complete transfusion of blood alone can save the patient, that is the nation now. Should we, the people, not have a say in selecting the candidates to represent us? Should we not have the right to question the authorities? Such a treatment, transfusing the whole blood, can only be a governing system with a wide participation of the people. Everyone who cares has dozens of ideas for improvement of governance. Obviously, all of them aim at controlling this corrupt to the core and atrocious quality. But whom do we go to bring about these changes? The very same corrupt to the core and atrocious quality. How can we expect them to bring about changes to laws meant against themselves? Are they Bhasmasaras to burn themselves out? The general view that we need reforms in law to ensure good governance is upside down. Only when we have a good government, we can bring about such changes to law. But when we have a good government, most of these changes would become unnecessary. There are lakhs and lakhs of social workers and social political activists working on improving the living conditions in some pocket of the society or other. They have been doing a fantastic job. Hats off to them. But the polity is leading the society to ruin much faster than all these workers and activists are able to make some improvement in the living conditions. What we need now is a holistic solution, a complete solution, not some piecemeal patchwork. Our actions should be result oriented. It must be a solution that can be brought about by the people themselves. It must have every chance to succeed. We saw that the whole polity has got corrupted and has become a cancer, that too a blood cancer. No pill or ointment will do, not even a surgery. What we need is a complete blood transfusion. What we need is nothing short of a revolution, but it has got to be a non-violent one. Violent ones will bring quick results, only to vanish soon enough. Only a non-violent one can bring about a long-lasting solution to any problem and be fair to everyone at the same time. We should move away from this so-called representative democracy to participatory democracy, a system in which the people participate in selecting the candidates and hence their representatives, a system in which the people have a say in matters that decide their day-to-day life as well as their future. Well, ultimately, we can only have representative governance, as the whole electorate cannot directly govern the nation or even a state. But the bottom line is that the governing body members represent the electorate. We need a solution which will not involve the government of the day to enact new laws against themselves. We need a solution which we, the people ourselves, can implement. We have to move to a partyless democracy to ensure that the elected representatives represent us, the people, and not the party bosses or the business tycoons. The people have to come together to select among themselves honest, non-greedy persons, nominate and elect them for all the governing bodies. This will result in a representative yet participatory democracy. This will elevate democracy to the next level and radically change the way we are governed. Right to recall and referendum will become a part of this process, with power literally flowing into the hands of the people. As activists, instead of telling people to vote for our candidate, if alone we ask them to select their own candidates, we can ensure their owning the candidates and hence their victory. The empowered people thus will ensure better governance. But then the question arises, how can 15 lakh voters as for Lok Sabha or 1 to 3 lakh voters as for state assemblies or even 10,000 to 30,000 voters as for local bodies in large cities gather and select a single candidate for their constituency? Let us see the next episode how to make this possible. Vande Mataram.